We are born curious. For 9 months, we sit in this dark holding cell. And then all of a sudden, there's light. And everything that we're experiencing is for the very first time. Every smell, every taste, every touch. And as the minutes become hours, and the hours become days, we start to become more curious about our surroundings. We would later find out that the 7 women throwing us around like a football aren't actually trying to kill us. They're called nurses. And that these 2 large humans that are making weird faces and noises from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep aren't aliens. They're called our parents, and they love us. And somewhere around the age of 2 or 3 years old, we're able to verbalize all this curiosity into a one-word question. Why? Now, if you have kids of your own, or you've watched any movie with some annoying child that knows more than the adults, you know that that question of why cannot be answered in a single sentence. No, that question of why is going to need explanation and counter-explanation, because somehow this 3-year-old that still wets the bed knows more about life than you do. My son Bryce is 4 years old. I'm still answering a question from when he was 2. The struggle is real. Trust me when I say this. But something happens when we get older. Our curiosity turns into cautiousness. I remember being 10 years old and standing on top of a flight of stairs, equipped with nothing but a garbage bag, because I was sure once I jumped, that hefty bag was going to turn into a parachute. 17 stairs later, I realized that was not the case. I got messed up. I got hurt. But I made that discovery on my own. And when you start learning things and being taught things like fear by your parents, by your teachers, by your siblings, you start accepting answers and you stop asking why. And the problem with that is this. The most important question we can ask ourselves as human beings is, why are we here? There are billions, not millions, billions of people that occupy this planet that believe their only purpose in life is to go to school, go to college, get a job to pay for said college, get married, have 2.5 kids, which I still cannot figure out how you have 2.5 kids, retire at the ripe age of 80, and then die. They feel that's the reason they exist. That's not an existence. That's just existing. That's taking up space. I feel that every single one of us has a purpose. You're probably sitting there right now like, okay, crazy man on stage, why are you so sure? Well, here's the reason. I used to work at this place called the Denville Pharmacy. And in the very back counter, I used to call it the sin counter, I used to sell cigarettes and lottery tickets. And I had this older gentleman that used to come into the pharmacy every single day and buy hundreds of lottery tickets. Hundreds. And one day he came up to me and said, young man, I've been playing the lottery for 30 years. I never got more than 3 winning numbers. I'm 18, so my mindset's like, stop. But then I started to think about it. Think about how many millions of people play the lottery every day. And how many tens of thousands of people play it as aggressively as this older gentleman and never, ever win. And there's a reason for that. For you to win the lottery is a 1 in 175 million chance. 1 in 175 million. That's like me walking out of the theater, getting struck by lightning, coming back in here, getting struck by the same lightning bolt, only to walk back outside and get eaten by a freaking unicorn. That's what 1 in 175 million look like. So when someone finally does win from Louisiana, because they're always from down south, I don't know why, what's the first 2 things they say? They bring them up to the podium, His hair is all disheveled. His shirt's unbuttoned because he found out he has 30 new family members he's never met before in his life. And they say, "Sir, how do you feel?" And he gets up there, he wipes his brow, and he goes, "Man, I just want to thank God. I want to thank God and baby Jesus and Jesus' nephew and everybody." And what's the second thing he says? It's a miracle. It's a miracle. And he's right. 1 in 175 million is a miracle. But here's a crazier stat. And I'm not trying to get too personal. I don't know your father's exact sperm count, and I don't want to know it. But for you to be born is somewhere in the 1 in 400 trillion range. With a T, 1 in 400 trillion. So please, do not sit here and tell me that you don't have purpose. You didn't play the lottery. You are the freaking lottery. You are the miracle. Every time you wake up and you look in the mirror, the miracle is looking right back at you. So why are so many of us unconvinced? Some of you guys are sitting there right now. I can see it on your little faces. Man, he's tripping. I'll tell you why. When I was 16 years old, I fell in love with basketball. Head over heels, in love with basketball. The problem was this. I never played ball before in my life, ever. And I sucked badly. But I played basketball for a really big reason. I wanted to play basketball so my mother, the great Tina Thomas, never had to work another job again in her life. Because when I was 3 years old, my father, Bobby Thomas, passed away from cancer. And he left my mom the task of raising 5 kids on her own with no money. So since I was 3, I've seen this woman struggle. I've seen this woman come home and us have bills from the table to the ceiling. So when I started playing ball, I said to my mom, she's the only one I share my dream with, "Mom, I'm going to be a professional basketball player. You're never going to have to work again." And my mom would always say, "All right, baby, I believe you. All right." And somehow, some way, through having the coordination of a baby deer when I first started, I was able to get a scholarship to play in North Dakota. And then after I got home, I got a contract to play professional basketball in Europe. In 168 hours before I was supposed to leave, I ruptured my Achilles tendon. Now understand something. My whole purpose in life was pure. It was for this woman that I love more than anything else on this planet. And the hardest day of my life was the day after my surgery. Because the day after my surgery, my mom came in my room and kissed me on my forehead, and I watched her walk out the house on her way to one of the 3 jobs I promised her she'd never have to work again. And when I talk about it now, I still feel it. And when she left, I asked myself, why? Why would I get injured now? And I'm cursing the heavens, and I'm upset, and I'm pissed off. But that's the answer to why we don't think we have purpose. Because what we don't understand when we're going through it is, a lot of times, it's going to take pain to find your purpose. And us as humans, when we experience pain, one of the first things that we do is tuck tail and we run, without realizing that on the other side of that pain, your purpose is waiting for you. You just got to stick it out. Last year, they did a mini documentary at my house. It was just my uncle. I'm not fancy. It was my uncle. He was just recording some stuff. I tried to say it like I was cool. You guys like, "Oh, did it a doc?" It was just Uncle Joey. He just came over. And I sat down with my mom. My mom's supposed to be here today, but she gets embarrassed when I talk about her. So she gets embarrassed a lot. And I said, Mom, how did you get through all the madness? Now, when I say I have 4 siblings, there's 5 of us. One of my brothers is autistic. If you have anybody on the spectrum, you know that's tough. I said, how'd you get through all that? What did you dream about? What was your purpose? And my mom said, baby boy, she goes, my only purpose was to make sure you guys had a roof over your head, you have food in your stomach, and you were raised the right way. Now understand something. Sometimes that's all that purpose has to be. We get it misconstrued. We think purpose is everybody has to save the planet. Man, sometimes you just got to save your house. And that's powerful. If it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be here right now. And man, if it wasn't for my injury, I wouldn't be here either. My injury has bought me my beautiful family. My injury has allowed me to speak in front of thousands of people and impact and be impacted. And my injury is bringing me to this stage right now where I'm getting a chance to have a conversation with you beautiful people. Now understand something. Kurt Vonnegut once said, we are whatever we pretend to be. So if you want to sit there in this auditorium and act like you don't have purpose, you want to act like there's no reason that you exist, you want to act like you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not the right shade of color, etc., 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 so be it. But do this for me. Think of your age and subtract it by 100. How much time do you think you have left? That's if everything goes right. We're just renters on this planet. We own nothing. These clothes, my car that barely works, my house, in 100 years, all that is gone. But what I could do is this. Every day I am blessed with the opportunity to wake up. I can impact my life for the better, my family's life for the better. I can impact somebody else's, and I can leave this world a little bit better than when I got it. If you look around this auditorium right now, we all won the lottery today. We're all awake. We're all alive. And if you don't have gratitude for that, if you don't realize there are tens of thousands of people all over the world that didn't, then you don't understand the miracle. So my big question to you is this. Today, you have opportunity. What the hell are you going to do with it? Thank you.